This is a little video for you guys that have Mokais. I'm going to show you my rig, what I've come up with on how to transport it, what works for me. I know it for everyone, but I love it because I really did not want to haul around a trailer whenever I went on adventures, and I travel all over, metal detecting, looking for relics and stuff. So basically, I already had the truck. I already had the that metal thing on top, not the crane, but the rest of it, all that is that's a commercially bought ladder rack or lumber rack. I bought that online. I can't remember who from, and delivered it to my door. I put it together and put it on the truck. And then I put a wood platform on it. And that's just made from decking boards that I had left over, for wood decks. I did that not for the Mokai, but for a camping platform, because I like to camp, and when I'm out in the desert I sleep on top. That way I can look at the stars and stuff, which is really cool, and you can hear the coyotes and the things all around you. But once I got the Mokai, I figured instead of using a trailer, I would get a crane. So I bought a crane online. That's like the cheapest one I could find. The only thing I would do different with that is, if you look at the bottom half, that's solid, so I have to take it off every time because it sticks up so high. There's a top section right there with the arm, that comes off no problem. That I have bolted down. I'll show you how I did that. I am not an engineer. You'll probably be gonna cringe when you see what I did, but it works for me. I can lift up my boat completely loaded. I can sit in the boat and lift it, no problem at all. So I feel pretty safe with that. So let's start with how I set the crane up there. Also, what I do with the truck is, with these, I made this for a step. I just added this to it, so it makes a nice little step. It's scraped. I get this all scraped up. That's because I wear these giant cleats on my boots sometimes, and I don't really care about the truck because I'm never going to resell it. So for me, you just have the tailgate open. You can step right here, crawl right up. I have some tie downs that I just more or less leave up here. And I just put these up for tie downs in the middle. I got a bunch of them because I haul different things sometimes. And these are just those little, well, you buy them at like Home Depot or something. Can't remember what they call, but if you look underneath here, you can see exactly what they are. Some type of little clamps, I don't know. But they work great for this for me. Back to the crane. This is my winch. I bought it. I don't know if you could use a smaller one or not, but that's just the one I bought. And I hooked up the crane like this. Now I made it so I could use 6 bolts, and of course these are, the really hardened ones. But I found that I only need 4. In fact, I've loaded it with just 2. So 4 is plenty. And I just screw that on and off. It's a little bit tight right now for some reason. Because I got the top on it. But they just screw on and off, and no problem at all. I'll show you how I reinforced it underneath, and the same way how I reinforced this. Now this is my end of the 2nd season that I've been using this outfit, and it's just worked really, really good for me. I don't fear that it's going to rip off and fall to the ground because I've sat in the boat. This is the first time I've ever had to pull a boat way up one of these ramps. I've done it on shorter ramps. I actually have 3 different sections of stuff in there. I took the gas can out this time only because the rope that I have tied to the Mokai is not very good, and I just don't want it to snap. So we're going to go ahead and try to pull it up the ramp, and then I'll show you how I load it. And when I go back down, I'll show you how I have the thing reinforced underneath. Again, I have no training. You may not want to do it like I have it done, but I've reinforced everything, and it seems to work. I just have a battery that I carry with me, and I just charge it whenever I'm driving. And I took off the control for it. I found I really didn't need it. All you need to do is put the hot on the right side and the negative over there, and that lifts it. And when you're ready to lower it, you just reverse them. You just take it off, move it over here, and it'll lower it. And I'll show you how I do that. But for now, we're just gonna try to pull that up the ramp and get it on the truck so I can get out of here and get ready for another day, because tomorrow is going to be a good day for me. Metal detecting in the river. So all you have to do is turn it on and it starts. And again, I've never pulled it up a ramp this far, so this could be interesting. I actually had I pulled it as tight as I could to get to the boat and had to pull the boat up on shore a little bit. But, well, let's see what happens. Get ready! Now you can see the pulleys that I put on the crane. I guess I'm just going to have to let that go. I just got those at like Farm and Family. I put one there. I put one there, and I found that if I put one down there, that really helped it a lot too. And it's just going to slowly pull it up the ramp. And I have, like I said, I have 3 different sections, so I'm going to have to stop it once it gets up a little ways. Unhook it, and you'll rehook it up again. But it beats trying to drag it up that ramp, I guarantee it. I know it's rinky-dink. So we're almost up to the first splice here where I hooked another cable on. So I have to watch it, make sure we don't, drag it through the pulley. And I'll have to turn it off and reverse it for just a little bit. But so far, so good. It's all balled up on the one side, though. I should have paid more attention to that. All right. I'll have to fix that. Alright, so what we're going to do is I stopped it a little before it got to it, and I'm just going to reverse these. So take that off there, there, and I can just let the tension off a little bit. Now another thing you can do is you can just, of course, unhook this and just unspin it. And I probably should do that a little bit so I can straighten it out a little. Oh, wrong way, of course. And I'll help with the feed when it starts up again next time. Okay, let's go ahead and I'll show you what it looks like underneath, and I'll re-hook these. So what I did here is I took, this is the cross tubing that from this ladder rack, and I put the 2x4 on each side to keep it centered. 2x6 is on top. I got a steel plate here. I took these bolts and just squeezed it all together, 6 of them. And that seems to hold it pretty good. So I'll go ahead and unhook these things, and I'm going to have to pull this back out. That's why I left it loose up there. And hopefully we can at least, maybe we can hook it to the boat now, but if not, we can hook it to that rope, I hope. I'll just hook it to the rope. I don't want to pull it off the reel. Like I said, this is just a little rinky-dink rope I use. I tie it off to my belt, and I use that to tie off to trees and whatnot. So when I'm out in the river doing my thing, I can just pull the Mokai along beside me if the water's deep enough. So I'm back up on top, and I probably had enough that I could have pulled it down to the boat, but not being able to see it. Probably a good thing I didn't. So we're going to go ahead and fire it up. We're going to reverse these again. Red on right for up. And that should be it. We have to make sure we turn this again so that it works. I'm going to try to guide that a little bit with some tension until the tension's up on the boat. So here we go. Just kind of let it feed on like that. I won't let it ball up on one side like it did before. It's probably not the safest thing to do, but I don't normally have to do this. The crane is really just to lift it up off the ground and put it on top. Because that thing's pretty heavy, and you guys know that. I'm going to help guide it a little bit with my foot, and again, that's probably not OSHA like approved, but this isn't something I normally do. Again, I use the crane mainly just to get it on top. Coming along nicely. I'm going to have to turn it off probably now because I don't want to break that rope. That's not very strong. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to back it up again, let the tension off, and I'm just going to hook it to the cable, pull it the rest of the way up, and then I'll show you how I lift it. Now normally I would just cut out this like last section of pulling it up a little bit further, but there's a video on YouTube of some guy who's loading a Mokai kayak using some rig that he built. And it looks really easy and really great, but he stops the video just before he gets it on his vehicle. And it dawned on me why. Because it wouldn't work. Once you get it to the certain point, there's no way he was going to get it on his vehicle without having to lift it on the vehicle. I'm I'm not really mad, but it's, you know, people on YouTube, you can't trust any of them. That's why I'm going to show you the next step. All right, we're just going to drag it up to here and get it ready. Already switched everything over, so I might have to drag it a little bit here just to straighten it out to get it in position to lift. Because when you lift it, you want to have it, you know, right next to the truck. So that's about the only thing I'll have to do. And again, I don't normally pull them up the ramps like this. Normally I have that little cart and you can just, you know, pull it up in your regular boat ramp or anything like that. But because it's trying to lift it, I'm gonna have to set it down now. Obviously, if I keep letting it run, it's gonna make it go vertical. So I'm gonna have to set it down, and then I'll just manhandle it into position to lift it. And I'm gonna put the gas tank back in it and all that stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you me doing it, because of that guy in a stupid video that he made where he doesn't show the whole process. I always let it run just a little bit extra to just give some extra slack. Now this battery charger, I keep up front and I plug it in whenever I'm driving, so it's charging wherever I'm driving. And I've never had it go, well, quit working for me. So far so good. Okay, so I have it in position to lift now. Let me show you how I have my setup, and it works very well for me. It's pretty simple. Again, I'm going to leave all of my gear in here. I have this little sling that I made that I'm going to slide under the back, and I'm going to show you me doing that. But I also have a lift point in here. Okay, it's just basically a tie-down strap that stays. Well, it came untied. That's the first time it's ever come untied. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to tie it back. I tie it around, I think right here. And then I have to adjust it. You have to adjust it so that it lifts the boat level. If you have it a little too long, it'll dip to the front, or if it's too short, dip to the back. So you get to watch me adjust it too. Sorry about that. Usually I just kind of have it tied in there, but it came untied today somehow. All right, let me go ahead and do that, and I'll show you how I put the back on. So basically what I did is I just tied it around this rib, and this is really not a good system, but you just need a strap around here that you can adjust. And that's what I have here. So I can adjust it right there, and it's, might not lift up straight the first time. But once you get it adjusted one time, it's usually good for then on out. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to have to turn the camera off, sorry, is I'm just going to slide this under the boat. I'm going to lift up here, and just kind of wiggle it underneath until it gets all the way up to the end. If I had somebody to hold the camera, I'd show you, but I don't. Be right back. So I have it all hooked up. I put the gas tank back in it. It's about half a tank. I put the Mokai inside because I'm going to be sleeping in the truck tonight, and I don't want that in there. And I got my extra gallon of gas down there. All I do now is I take this hook and I hook it up to that and that. And I'm going to have to put the camera down again. Sorry. I didn't think this through, did I? Well, that was simple enough. I got it hooked up here, there, and there. Now, the only problem is this might need to be adjusted. I won't know until I start lifting it up. So we have to go back up on the truck. And this is the main reason I built that whole rig with the crane and whatnot, was really just to lift it up and put it on the truck so I didn't have to tow a trailer. But it works, pulling it up ramps too. It's just a lot more hassle. But it beats doing it by hand. All right, back on top. And now for the money shot. All right. I always kind of watch it close to make sure everything's hooked up. Oh yeah. See if I adjusted right. Yeah, that's pretty good actually. It's tipping a little bit, but that's not going to be a problem. Just a little bit. If I tighten that up, that cinch up just a little, it'll level it right up, and then you don't really have to worry about it too much after that. So I'm just going to let it ride up till it hits the top or gets close to it. that's good. And I just grab it and swing it around. I don't really have a preference to, well, I was going to say I don't have a preference to what end goes forward, but it would be good this time if this was forward because there's a lot of water in it. So I'm just going to plug it back up so it doesn't drain down on top of my truck and then cascade over my windshield because it's filthy. It's really, really muddy. Yeah, you just pull it around. That's all you have to do now. Of course, I'm pulling it uphill because we're on a little bit of an angle. And I'm trying to do it with one hand. It's a lot easier when you don't have to film it too. Alright, so once you get it on top, I just go ahead and let it down. And you can just scooch it around real easy. Again, if I had both hands free, this would be a lot easier. Just reverse those one more time. It's probably counting how many times I did that. Let it down. Let the tension off. Now, I recommend that you let it run for a few minutes because in order to get this part off, that's probably long enough, you have to have some slack. I'm going to leave it attached. And I'm going to lift this apart and take the crane apart, and I'll show you how I do that next. We're done with the battery. And I'll just turn it off. Alright, so I'm just going to slide it around here now. Now that I get the tension off of it, it's a lot easier to slide too. It'd be a lot easier if I wasn't trying to film it at the same time. I'm just went over the edge. I'll pull it in this way a little bit. I like to get the heavy motor and stuff centered over this one right here pretty much to even out the weight because there's no support on these ladder racks out front here. That's the only support there and in the back, in the back. I'm going to just pull this forward. I'm going to go ahead and position it and then I'll show you how I tie it down. So I did fib to you in that I kind of skipped a step, but you guys know how to use ratchet straps. I'll show you what I did. Tied there, over the top. Just hooked them in there, hooked one in there, hooked one in the front up there, ratcheted them down. Yeah, it's going to tear it up a little bit, but oh well. I have these extra ropes here that I use for a kayak that I carry right here normally that I didn't bring on this trip, and that's part of that system. But and that's only in case I get to a spot where I really don't have to take this off the truck. I can just put a small kayak in and go do my thing and come back. I'll just use that. So, alright, let me show you how I do the crane. Put some slack in it so we should be able to just lift this off the top, just like this. I'm going to try to do one-handed. Hopefully it's enough slack. Oops, not tall enough to do it one-handed. Sorry about that. I just lay this down, just like that, okay? I'm going to leave it tied up. And to get this part off, it's really, really simple. You just have these 4 bolts, nuts rather, and you just twist them off. And set them there, and hopefully not lose them because I've lost them a couple times because I forget the very last step of this process. Okay, almost done. Like I said, I have lifted the boat with just 2 bolts, 2 nuts on it. Alright, so then you just take, oh, almost lost that. Take this off, lay it down. A little bit harder to do one hit. Ah! It didn't go all the way down. Just lay it down. I'll strap that down. And you put the bolts back on it so you don't lose them. Just like that. Just like that. And voila, you're done. Strap this thing down and you can just go on down the road. So I hope that was helpful and informative for you guys. If you have any questions, please ask. I know it seemed like it took a long time and it was a real hassle, but it's only because I had to pull up that stupid slide right there. When I'm just dropping it in the parking lot, it's really quick. It's very simple. It's an awesome system. It just changed my life. Enough of that. We'll see you on the next one. Let me know if you enjoyed it.